Miles to go, everyone. Welcome back to the part two of chapter Weavers, Iron Smelters, and Factory Owners. In this part, we will learn about iron and steel industry of India. There is a very famous story of 18th century about Tipu Sultan and his sword. His sword was a piece of art. His legendary sword was being a part of valuable collection in museum in England. His sword had an incredible hard and sharp edge that it could rip off the opponent's armor. This special quality of sword came from a special type of high carbon steel called wood. Indian in those times known the science of metallurgy, where iron was mixed with charcoal and put inside a small clay pot. And through a controlled temperature, these smelters produce steel ingots that were used to make sword. In 1800, Francis Buchanan traveled in South India and found out this technique of wood's steel. Many European scientists got fascinated by this technology, one of which was legendary scientist Michael Faraday, discoverer of electricity and electromagnetism. Wood steel making process was widely known in South India, but mid 19th century the sword and armor making industry died with the conquest of India by Britishers, and afterward import of iron and steel from England displayed the iron and steel industry completely. Production of woods steel required high specialized technique of refining iron. The smelting was done by men while women below pumping air that kept the charcoal burning. The furnace was made of clay and sun dried brick. Due to British government policies, this industry also declined. The reasons were new forest laws, reserve forest were marked, high penalty if the villagers they defy forest laws, high taxes even if they were allowed to access forest, there were high taxes which were imposed on them. And last, import of iron and steel from Britain. The credit of revival of iron and steel industries goes to Tata. Jamshedji Tata decided to put large part of his fortune to build iron and steel industry. His son Dorabji Tata, with an American geologist Charles Weld, went in search of iron deposit in India. At Chhattisgarh, Dorabji and Weld met a group of villagers who were carrying basket loads of iron ore. These people were the Agarias. With the help of Agarias, Dorabji and Weld identify a iron ore deposit at Rajhara Hills at Chhattisgarh. But that region was dry. So Tata continued their search and finally they got another iron ore deposit near Subarn Rekha River. which was later known as Jamshedpur. Tata established Tisco in 1912. Tisco was set up at an opportune time. In late 19th century, India was importing iron and steel from expansion for the expansion of railways in India. And Britishers were unwilling to believe that the good quality of steel can be produced in India. But in 1914, First World War broke out, and British iron and steel industry have to meet the demand for war in Europe. So import of British steel declined, and Indian Railway turned to Tisco for the supply of rails. As war dragged for several years, Tisco had to produce shell, carriage, wheels for war. British government was buying 90% of steel manufactured by Tisco. Over the time, Tisco became the largest iron and steel industry in British Empire. As the nationalist movement developed and the industries came class became stronger, the demand of government protection became louder. British government was struggling to retain their control over India. And after Second World War, many things changed for India. Indian cotton mills and Indian iron and steel industry got a chance to revive themselves. So, Second World War came as a blessing in disguise for India, where the decline of British industries happened and Indian industries started rising up. With this, we come to the end of the part 2 of this chapter. Hope you like this chapter. Please like and subscribe. Miles to go.